The brave little squirrel. Once upon a time in a dense forest, there lived a brave little squirrel named Nutmeg. He was small and nimble, with a bushy tail and bright eyes that always sparkled with curiosity. Nutmeg loved climbing trees and collecting nuts, but most of all, he loved exploring his surroundings. One day, as Nutmeg was scurrying through the forest, he heard a loud and unsettling noise. It sounded like the earth was splitting in half. The little squirrel became very frightened and ran back to his tree as fast as he could. When he arrived, he saw that all the animals in the forest were gathered together in fear. It was then that Nutmeg noticed a large boulder rolling down the hill towards the animals' gathering spot. The other animals were too scared to do anything, but Nutmeg knew what he had to do. He ran towards the boulder and tried to push it back up the hill. But the rock was too heavy, and Nutmeg was just a little squirrel. Suddenly, a group of ants appeared, marching in unison towards the rock. Nutmeg watched in amazement as they climbed onto the rock and began pushing it back up the hill. With the ants' help, Nutmeg was finally able to push the boulder back to its original position. The other animals were amazed at Nutmeg's bravery and the ants' strength. From that day on, Nutmeg became good friends with the ants and even helped them collect food for their colony. And whenever there was danger in the forest, the animals knew that they could count on Nutmeg and the ants to come to their rescue. From that day on, Nutmeg was known as the bravest squirrel in the forest, and the ants were respected for their strength and loyalty. They learned that no matter how big or small you are, you can achieve great things when you work together. The Wise Tortoise. In a lush forest lived a group of animals who had heard of the wise tortoise. They often went to him for advice on important matters. One day, the king of the forest, a majestic lion, fell ill. The animals were worried and did not know what to do. The rabbit suggested they should visit the wise tortoise and ask for his help. They all agreed, and the rabbit led the way. After a long journey, they finally arrived at the tortoise's home. The tortoise listened carefully to their concerns and thought deeply about how to help the lion. He then gave them a solution that would require everyone's help. "We must all work together," said the tortoise. "Let's collect medicinal plants and herbs from different parts of the forest and prepare a healing potion for the lion." Excited to help, the animals quickly got to work. And after much effort, they were able to gather all the necessary ingredients. The tortoise used his wisdom to mix them correctly and create the potion. The lion drank the potion, and soon enough, he was healed. Overjoyed, the animals thanked the tortoise for his wise guidance and praised him for his brilliant leadership skills. From that day forward, the animals looked up to the tortoise as their wise leader. The humble and kind tortoise had demonstrated that greatness comes not from size or strength, but from intelligence and compassion. And so, the wise tortoise continued to lead the animals of the forest for many years, teaching them the importance of teamwork and the power of wisdom. The treasure hunt. In the dense forest, there lived a group of animals: a wise owl, a quick fox, and a strong bear. One day, while they were out exploring the forest, they stumbled upon a treasure map. The map was old and tattered, but it clearly showed the location of a hidden treasure. The three friends decided to embark on a treasure hunt and set out to find the treasure. They walked through the woods, climbed up steep hills and crossed rivers, always following the map's clues. During their journey, they encountered many challenges, but they stuck together and overcame every obstacle. As they finally reached the spot marked on the map, they found a large chest. Inside the chest was a pile of glittering jewels and shiny coins. Oh, it was a sight to behold. But just as they were about to take a closer look, a sly wolf appeared out of nowhere. The wolf had also been on the hunt for the treasure and was determined to take it all for himself. A fierce battle broke out between the wolf and the three friends. The wolf was agile and swift, but the trio used their strength and wit to combat him. In the end, they managed to overpower the wolf and chased him off into the woods. With the threat gone, the trio finally got to admire their treasure. They were ecstatic at their achievement and decided to share it equally amongst themselves. From that day on, the owl, fox, and bear remained the best of friends, and people still talk about their adventure in the forest to this day. So if ever you are out exploring the woods, keep your eyes open, who knows what treasures lie ahead. The end. The brave little mouse. Once upon a time, in a forest filled with all sorts of animals, there lived a little mouse named Molly. She was brave and always curious about the world outside her burrow. One day, while exploring, she came across a group of animals gathered around a large tree. Molly approached the group and discovered that a family of birds had been trapped in the tree after a storm knocked down their nest. The animals were trying to figure out how to rescue the birds, but none of them could climb the tall tree. Without hesitation, Molly offered to help. She bravely climbed up the tree, inch by inch, until she reached the birds. With her tiny paws, she carefully carried each bird back down to safety. The animals cheered for Molly, impressed by her bravery and intelligence. From then on, Molly became a hero among the forest creatures. She was no longer just a small mouse, but a brave and powerful member of the animal community. Years passed, and Molly grew old. Her body weakened, and she could no longer climb trees or run as fast as she used to. But the animals never forgot the brave little mouse who had saved the birds and the forest. They continued to tell her story to their children and grandchildren, passing down the legacy of Molly's bravery and kindness for generations to come. The unlikely friendship. In a forest filled with all sorts of creatures, there lived a shy deer named Daisy. She spent most of her time alone, grazing in the meadow and wandering around the woods. One day, as she was enjoying a peaceful afternoon by the lake, she heard a loud growling sound coming from nearby. Scared, she started running, but tripped and fell down. Looking up, she saw a giant wolf standing over her. Daisy braced herself for the worst, expecting the wolf to attack her any second. But to her amazement, the wolf spoke in a calm and gentle voice. "I'm sorry I frightened you. I didn't mean to. My name is Grayson." Suspicious at first, Daisy listened carefully as Grayson explained that he had been out hunting for days, without any success. He was weak and hungry and had nowhere to go. Although terrified, Daisy empathized with him and offered to share her food and shelter. Grayson reluctantly accepted Daisy's offer and followed her to her cozy den. Over the next few days, Daisy took care of Grayson and kept him safe from harm. Gradually, they began to trust each other and became best friends. As winter approached, the forest became colder, and food became scarce. Daisy knew that she had to find a way to help Grayson survive the winter. So, she decided to go on a dangerous mission into the unknown parts of the forest to find food. Days went by, and Daisy had not returned. Grayson grew worried and went looking for her. He searched high and low until he found her lying unconscious on the ground, surrounded by a pack of wild dogs. Grayson summoned all his strength, took a deep breath, and charged towards the pack of dogs, determined to save his friend. In the end, Grayson fought off the dogs and managed to carry Daisy back to safety. As Daisy woke up, she looked at Grayson with gratitude and said, "I thought I was going to die. Thank you for saving me." Grayson replied, "You would have done the same for me. That's what friends do. They look out for each other." From that day on, Grayson and Daisy were inseparable. And their unlikely friendship became a legend that the animals of the forest still talk about today. The end. The Brave Bunny. In a dense forest, there lived a group of animals. They were all friends and helped each other in times of need. Among them was a bunny named Benny who was known for his courage and bravery. One day, while Benny was out exploring the forest, he heard a loud growling noise. Fearing for his safety, he turned around to see a fierce-looking wolf staring at him with sharp teeth bared. Benny didn't lose hope and decided to face the wolf bravely. The other animals tried to stop him and begged him not to take such a risk, but Benny wouldn't listen. He ran towards the wolf, dodging its attacks and biting and scratching it with all his might. The wolf, taken aback by Benny's fierceness, finally fled into the darkness of the forest. Benny returned to his friends, injured but feeling proud of his bravery. The other animals cheered for him and praised his courage. From that day on, Benny became the hero of the forest. His bravery inspired other animals to stand up for themselves and never give up in the face of danger. Benny's story is still told among the animals of the forest, reminding them that even the smallest and seemingly weakest of creatures can become a hero if they have the courage to stand up and fight. The end.